It's a pleasure to meet you.
Lovely to be here.
I assume you don't get to Toronto very often.
I've been a few times.
Yeah.
I was at the Toronto Film Festival several years ago, and I came with my wife in 1987 for the first time, and I filmed something awful here. I think no, it wasn't awful. Years and years ago. But I've been to Montreal. I've filmed in Montreal, and I'm a big F1 fan. So
Nice.
I've been for the Grand Prix a few times.
I did hear you talking about that outside the door.
Yeah, I love it. I love Formula One. Yeah.
Oh, maybe you have to make it here to Toronto for one of ours.
Yeah, what they do IndyCar here.
It's
do they?
IndyCar here, yeah.
Yeah.
So, when you tour, I'm sure, all over to talk about the show.
I do.
What kind of reactions do you get about Davos? Because he's such an intriguing character who has, the checkered past, and at the same time, he seems to be one of the more upright characters in terms of
Yeah, they're kind of few and far between on the show, aren't they?
They are.
No, he's a really interesting. I mean, if he wasn't in the merd that he's in on a regular basis, then he wouldn't possibly be that interesting to play. But when he's got that kind of solid instinctual backbone of decency and loyalty and principle. And he's what's interesting is the drama he gets into when the guy he's aiming all that principle stuff wants to kill him, put him in prison, all that, and he still sticks by the rules. In a sense, you kind of look at him and kind of go, you know what? If the crap hit the fan, that's what I'd like my thing to be. That I'd be a kind of a straight shooter,
Right.
and that I wouldn't sell out. He doesn't sell out. I think that's probably one of his more attractive qualities, is that he's not a sellout. He's not, he doesn't do what quite a few of them would do. They'd sell their mothers on this show for power. And I kind of like that about him. Because generally speaking, the kind of good guys are not that interesting to play.
Right.
The baddies are much more interesting to play usually, and I've done a lot of them. But him, because of the writing is so good, and he gets in dilemma. I mean, like in episode 6, like at the beginning of that, his good idea, it begins to fall to dust
Right.
in his hands, and he has to pull something out of the bag. And that's like huge credit to the writers that they put him in this. I mean, he's in big trouble with Stannis for embarrassing him, apart from anything else.
Right.
And then to have these beautiful written words where as an actor, you've got an opportunity to kind of sell this, and obviously to triumph for that particular section, but to pull it out of the bag, and his obvious, his principle and his I won't say devotion, but his his linkage with Stannis and the fact that he's going to see this job through to the end. He is. Although it being Game of Thrones, you wouldn't know what had happened. I could end up stabbing Stannis. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but that's a fantastic journey for an actor to play.
Right. Well, I mean, I was going to ask you about that scene because, it's one of the best moments we've had in the season to me, and I mean, I love the fact that it sets up something maybe not everyone's thought about, the fact that, when it comes down to it, if this kid who's now on the throne bites it, that really who's the next possible leader? Yeah,
well, no, he does. I mean, I think he for people who are watching who are kind of speculating about, okay, we know Tywin is running the joint. When he does go, what's going to happen? So I think people are sitting at home on the sofa are kind of saying, yeah, what's the story if Tywin bites the dust? Who's going to move in after that? It's not what Tommen is going to run the place by himself with the assistance of Cersei.
Right.
I don't think so. So who's got so people are speculating on the sofa, and then to have some characters in the show discussing what people are discussing at home is really cool. It's clever, right? It's really good.
But the way you sold it as Davos, I just love the way you sold it. It felt like one of the most true moments we've seen this season, and just the fact that I think as well that he's still so devoted. It blows me away that.
Well, it's what I liked about it. I mean, if you think about the scene itself, it's what's really clever is it's designed to come across as stream of consciousness.
Right.
It's not just something he had that worked out back in Dragonstone before they sat with the boys. He thought it was a no-brainer that he was going to get the money, because Stannis was going to be king, and when Mark Gatiss' character is essentially saying pooh-poohing the boys and saying off you go.
Right.
and Stannis gives Davos that look of, and as soon as we get out, like a naughty school kid, wait till we get out of here. Something's got to be done really quick, and that's what I liked about it from a writing point of view and an acting point of view, that it was okay. Let's tell it like it is, and it's honest.
Right.
I mean, the speech is honest. He's not trying to manipulate the Mangers. He's telling it like it is.
Right.
Which side do you want to be on, dude? Who do you want to own? Do you want to give money to people you'll get it back from? Because if we get in without your help, you're in trouble. So bankers are bankers, wherever they may be. They're unprincipled. We know that usually. Otherwise, they wouldn't be bankers. Banksters, as we like to call them in Ireland. So you've got that, and that was kind of a joy to play.
So otherwise, I mean, my last question is really playing this character. What's your greatest joy in terms of, is it set? Is it the other people you're playing off of? Is it the writing? I mean, there's so many things.
It's a combination of things. It's one of those, it's one of those things with the sum of its parts is bigger. It's bigger than the sum of its parts.
Right.
It's the quality of the writing on this, the quality of the production, the quality of the backup of getting it out there to people. There's so many things have to come together to make a show like this as important as it is, and the viewers and the fans are as big as important to this as we are, because otherwise nobody sees it, and if nobody sees it, it don't get made. So there's that huge responsibility to keep up the quality of it, because it's when people have invested as much as they have emotionally in following this story as viewers, if you don't come up to scratch on it, they disappear very quickly. They vote with their finger.
Right.
So you do have a responsibility, but if you keep it up, everybody wins. It's a joy to be involved in. It's a joy to watch, and it's a good thing all round.
I can attest to that. The joy to watch, for sure. Thank you very much.
Nice talking to you.
You too.